The biggest misunderstanding, I think, today about Andrew, especially among young people who rightly revere him today, is that the media landscape that Andrew found when he arrived was very different from the landscape that we have today. There were not conservative alternatives on the internet. There was no place to go, or there were very few places to go to find any sort of presentation of the news that cut against the grain. It was still, the media landscape was still very highly monolithic. It was not all that different from when Walter Cronkite was reading the news for an hour every evening. And I always find it amusing when people say, talk about the good old days when Walter Cronkite you could just sit down and for an hour in the evening and listen to Walter Cronkite deliver the news, and you didn't have all of the other noise that goes on. And I'm like, yeah, it was really a great time for Walter Cronkite. Or if you were somebody who believed in lockstep with everything that Walter Cronkite believed, which meant that over half of the country, every day got screwed and silenced because if you didn't believe if you weren't in lockstep with the monolithic media, and very few people had more to do with crashing that monolith than Andrew Breitbart, and obviously there were others, Matt Drudge, for example. But the landscape we have today is so different than what it was 20 years ago. And when I think about how he did that, what was it about Andrew that allowed him to accomplish this? I think it was three things. The first thing was he was blazingly honest. I mean, just unflinchingly honest about everything. The second thing is that he was unwavering on the things that mattered, the principles. And that's why he went after Republicans more than he went after Democrats, I think, because it was when Republicans failed to keep up their values, keep up the principles, he would go after them. And then the final thing was he was utterly fearless. Andrew had no capacity for fear. And it's why he was so joyful when he would go after these people. And it's why 10 years after he's gone, we're still fighting the fight. It's a very different place than when he found it, and the left is still crying over how Andrew and Matt and people like Andrew tore down the monolithic media. They're having to suffer listening to our voices even 10 years after he's gone. Fight on. God bless him.